Hi friends. So I've been doing a series all year long where basically every month or so, whenever it happens to work out, I am filming a video of how can I find a 5-star in this genre. So like for different genres. Okay, so every month I am filming a video where we pick a different genre and just keep reading books in it until we find a 5-star. And this month we are going to be going with one of my all-time favorite genres, romantasy. So I think this one will be fun. I kind of 100% go into these videos with the hopes that maybe I will not find a 5-star right away and I'll just have an excuse to read a fuck ton of books that I've been putting off and that I really want to read. So welcome to today's video. We are going to try to read quite a few romantasy and yeah, just see if we can find a 5-star, see if we can find some fun recommendations, and see if we have any that we love. So thank you for watching. Thank you for clicking on today's video. If you haven't already, I would love if you would consider subscribing, and let's just dive into this. Okay, so let's talk. Ooh, that lighting. This lighting is rough. It's that type of night. Just that time of night, I guess. But let's talk about the first romantasy that we've started, which is A Fire in the Sky by Scifi Jordan. Honestly, this is one that I had really no interest in until I saw Becca with the Books do a review on it recently, and it sounded 100% up my alley. She described it as feeling kind of like Khal Drogo, Daenerys type of vibes, and if you know, that is 100% my thing. That is one thing that I will always be into. So yeah, of course I wanted to pick it up on that review. So basically in this one, we have a royal family who's governing in charge of this kingdom. They have, oh, these shadows are bad. I don't know if that's any better, but we'll see. So this royal family, they have 3 daughters, 3 princesses, and one tradition that this family tends to have is that they have a royal whipping girl or boy. But basically, because the prince and princesses cannot be punished themselves, they take in a peasant kid and they're basically raised alongside the princesses, and every punishment that would go to them is doled out to this young girl. So she is our main character that we're following, Tamsin, and she's been raised pretty much as a princess her entire life. She is aware that she is not actually like the child of the king and queen, but at the same time they call her their daughter. She calls them mom and dad. They like 100% like treat her as if she is one of the girls, except she gets, you know, pretty brutally beaten every time that the princesses do something wrong. So she's lived her entire life feeling like, yes, she is kind of part of the royal family, but she's very much other. And in comes, I guess the princesses are all at this age where they're starting to get married off, and in comes this warlord. I'm thinking, I don't know if it's right, but I'm thinking kind of horse lord / Khal Drogo type of thing, where he's in this traveling band of warriors. He comes in and he's just done some huge heroic act, and he demands a princess, a daughter of, I think he doesn't say princess, I think he words it as a daughter of the royal family, to be his bride. And because of the way the contract is worded, the king comes up with this idea where he's like, I will not demean one of my princesses to go to this barbarian, but I can give him my other daughter who is not technically royal blood. So then they decide to give her up basically as sacrifice. And on the wedding night, there's this huge bedding ceremony where like basically all the witnesses are there to watch them be bedded, and they convince this beast lord, that the princess, as part of their custom, has to be like shrouded. Her head has to be 100% veiled and shrouded, so he can't see her face until after they've been bedded, but knowing that once the marriage is consummated, he can't really back out of it. So they do this. They get married, they go through the consummation, and then the veil is ripped off, and she is revealed to be, in fact, not a princess, a daughter of the royal family, not a princess, and they have duped this lord. He's extremely upset, of course, and where we are right now, they've left the palace. He's taking her back to his homeland / wherever his power base is, but you can tell he is very like, I'm gonna punish her. I am gonna make sure she suffers for this, and I'm interested. I'm really interested. I honestly like that vibe, that kind of trope. Those things work so well for me. I have to say, like, they 100% just work so well. So I'm really excited to kind of like dive into this and see really where it goes. Also there's dragons. It's not, we haven't seen a dragon yet, but it's hinted that there were dragons at some point. There was apparently some kind of huge massacre that this beast lord, warlord guy participated in, his family participated in, but we don't really know much. I'm sure they're going to come back and there's going to be more magic and stuff in this world. It's hinted that this daughter has some type of magic. We don't know yet, but I'm really excited to see where that goes. right, so we are done A Fire in the Sky. And this one started off, it had crazy promise to me. Like, I'd say the first half of this book was truly fantastic. And it was going into so many tropes that I love. The setup of this like fake, well, not fake marriage, but like marriage of deception. I don't know if that's how we describe it. But that idea, this warlord bringing our main character to like his world where she's now going to be his queen slash, I mean, his bride. But he also is like very early on setup of like, well, they deceived me. I am going to make her life hell. And then that part didn't really follow through as much as I wanted it. They very much too quickly, I feel like the tension in their relationship was over. Like, I really wanted them to be deeply hating each other and fighting at every turn and all of these things. And I think that ended way sooner than I would have liked. And also about halfway through this book, a certain type of magic was introduced that in theory, I like the idea of it, but at the same time, I don't really like how it was utilized in this, and I don't really think that I enjoyed it the way that it was kind of going on in this book. I felt like it just, I mean, like, it made sense to the plot. I will say it made sense, but at the same time, it just wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't something I found necessarily interesting, and I found that it kind of just like completely set off the book in a different route than what I was kind of hoping it to be. At the ending too, there was something that was just way too conveniently set up that made me really upset, and I would say that ending alone brought this down from like a 3.5 to a 3-star. So very strong premise, incredible introduction, incredible like setup for a story that just ultimately did not end up working out for me. This is one of those ones too where I feel like the book could have benefited from maybe another 100 pages, maybe a bit more to set the tension between our two main characters, a bit more to really like establish a love connection and all of these things. And this is one thing that I struggle with because part of me really likes shorter romantasy books slash romance books because, you know, they're more of like a filler fun time is kind of how I feel like, where you know you're not necessarily gonna like be blown away, but they're very entertaining for what they are. And this is one that I think could have become much better if there had been just more character growth and if we'd actually seen that relationship grow between them. So, you know, it had potential to be good and it just did not end up working out quite how I wanted it to. So sadly, book 1, 3 stars. I do not know where I'm going to be going next. I need to properly like actually take stock of what books I could potentially read because I know I have some on KU. Some of them are like, I have a bunch downloaded, but some of them are for other videos, which I need to actually like solidify those TBRs to decide what I can read for this one, if that makes sense. And then I have some downloaded from Libby. I know I also have a few on my shelf. Like I, for a brief period of time, was getting the Fairy Loot Romantasy book box, and I also got one edition of the Owl Crate Romantasy quarterly box. So I have those on my shelves, which this could be really the perfect opportunity for me to like work through some of my physical TBR and get some of those checked off. So I might do that. I might try to do that. Yeah, I'm like really not sure where I want to go next. So I guess I'll check in when I've picked out something. Figured I might as well quickly look at some of the romantasy on my physical TBR and just see if any of these are something that I might want to pick up. So there's Wooing the Witch Queen, witches, sister witches fighting, something like that. The Osseous Chronicles by Ivy Asher. This edition I'm obsessed with. Book 1 is The Bone Witch, so this could be a good option. I really like Ivy Asher, so this could be a good one to start on. And again, like if I like it, I have the entire series. Then what else? Oh my god, I can't reach that high. I just got this in from Owl Crate, Exquisite Ruin, which might be more of a monster romance just based on like this artwork, but we can see if it's more, I guess, like it's in their romantasy box. So, you know, technically still romantasy. I know there's more. I'm just like, I'm doing a terrible job of keeping my shelves organized right now. And I am also like, I'm in the mood to read right now. So I want to pick something up that I can then go like really, really obsess over. Is that, no, that's not romantasy. I need to better organize these shelves because I know I have things. I just, where the fuck have I put any of them? And then 2 more I found. The Run in the Holly Library, which I think is a little more dark academia-esque just based on this artwork. So that could be good. And The Courting of Bristol Keats. So I think between this and some of the others, let's try to just like, you know, make our way through some of my physical TBR this week too. Why not? Might as well. Maybe we will find a new favorite. Who knows? I'm gonna pick one of these and then I'm gonna go start reading because I am in the mood to cuddle up with a book. Okay, so we have started our next book, which is The Courting of Bristol Keats. And I don't know how I feel about this cover compared to the original. It's kind of boring, to be honest. I mean, that artwork is gorgeous. And I do like this look because it's one that I'm always tempted to like just take this paper cover off and just kind of have them look like old library books. But yeah, I don't know, I'm talking about this to avoid talking about the book, which I'm just feeling very, very blah about, which like, I feel like I really, unfortunately, have like no thoughts at all. So we're following our main character, Bristol, and she has been offered a deal basically to be given like this, I would say inheritance, but more of like a sum of money to be able to do this like thing on behalf of these fairies. And basically, I think she has to go into the Fae Court and complete some mission, and if she successfully finishes it, she's going to get this money from her and kind of like just enough to save her family because they're struggling. And also she is realizing quickly that like a lot of what she'd been told to date about her family is not quite true, and she has lived the past like however many years assuming that her father is dead, but it very much seems like this is also not true. So that's really where we are right now, is just she is making this bargain and really trying to just, you know, figure out what all of these secrets that her family has had are. Do have to say, not super into it. Really not vibing with it. Again, like it's one I really like don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm just like not in any way into this, and I am so just uninvested with like anything that's happening. It's not captivating me. I'm not like feeling interested in keeping going. I'm gonna finish it just because I own this one. Otherwise 100% would be enough, because I feel like nothing interesting has happened this far in, which is again like maybe a third, and there is nothing at all that like captivated me to the point where I'm like, ooh, I'm actually curious about this. So unfortunately, like, yeah, it's not doing much for me, and I'm really hoping it surprises me, but I'm having a feeling that it just might not. So I do have to say, this book is the perfect example of why I've canceled all my subscriptions, because while, I mean, the edition, it's nice, but it's also like not necessarily something I'm that excited of over the cover, or over the original cover, I mean. But it's also one that coming out of it, I feel so little for this book. I have genuinely zero thoughts. And now I'm just like, I don't know if I necessarily want to keep this edition. It feels like I just wasted my money on it. And I think that a lot of these editions that I was getting from subscription boxes, that's kind of how I was coming out feeling with so many of them. And I really changed my buying habits. So now I'm only buying books that I've read before and loved, or it's a very anticipated author. So it's like one that I have a very strong feeling that I'm going to want to keep the copy, even if it's like maybe not my favorite book. And yeah, no, this one I own, and I'm probably going to try to sell it, but like this was a waste of money. And I'm going to give the most unsatisfying description of this ever, which is that I have like no thoughts, genuinely zero thoughts on this right now. I like cannot think of a single thing that is good or bad about it. Just, it was middle line. It was very bland to me. It was really just this girl going into fairy to try and like complete this bargain. And like, I have nothing else to say about it. I was not invested, wasn't driving with any of it, didn't care about any of the plot. And I will be very honest, the like last quarter of it, I skimmed a little. So it didn't really do anything for me. So I guess it's like a solid 2 stars, maybe. Like one star I reserved for things that I like actively hate. 2 stars are things that I'm just like very like did not enjoy. And I think it's that. So yeah, that was very unsatisfying. Yeah, yay, wasted my money. I'm gonna go for another, I'm doing another book off my physical TBR next, which is The Half King, and I'm like 50 pages into it right now. I think we're gonna really make an effort to read down as much of my physical TBR as possible. This one is a Fairy Loot edition, and it's pretty cool. I actually really like this edition, so I'm hoping for, I love their naked hardcovers, so I'm hoping for something good on this one. But this one has something interesting, and I'm hoping that it continues in this way, continues interestingly. So in this world, birth order kind of determines your position / abilities in this world. So firstborns inherit this family curse. Secondborns go to prophets because they have ability to be seers, and then I guess the otherborns, I don't know if they have anything. But we're following the main character. She's a secondborn daughter, so she lives on temple grounds where she's in service to a goddess, and she is supposed to be an oracle, but for some reason she hasn't been able to get her abilities / has not foretold anything like she is supposed to be. But she is given an opportunity from the head seer to serve the Half King, who is a firstborn who is cursed so that he rules by day and turns to shadow at sunset. And the curse basically makes it so that by his 21st birthday, he is expected to, or going to, turn fully to shadow and like no longer have a corporeal form. And now our main character, she is at this new kingdom and going to be searching for a way to try and break the curse, because I think there's some kind of prophecy that says that she might be the one to like reverse all these curses that are on firstborns. But I'm really enjoying the world. I'm enjoying this world building quite a bit, and I'm feeling very hopeful. I have a lot of hope that this could be a good one for me. So we will see how this goes. Well, it's definitely been a hot minute since I updated, and I finished 2 more books, which is not at all how I wanted to do this. I wanted to like, do regular updates, keep on top of this, but I could immediately tell that neither of these was going to be 5-star, and I just like, that motivation wasn't here. I was like, I don't want to keep just talking about shitty books, but if we're making my way through my physical TBR, I think that's going to be the way it goes, because honestly, subscription-based books, they're so bad. And I find it's because a lot of companies, they try to make books that they pick as broad as possible. And doing that, they make them, what's more likely to be okay. Like a book that everyone will rate 3 stars and come out with like okay feelings, or one that's very divisive and is either going to be like a 5 or 1 star. They're going to pick the 3-star option because that way people will generally be more happy. And that's fine. I just, these choices really tend to not be for me. So I'm happy that I've canceled all of mine. The only I've been really thinking about it, and I think that like if I do subscriptions again in the future, I'm going to do probably like Aardvark, where you pick your books. I love Aardvark. I love the choices that they have, and that's one I just financially wasn't okay with spending that much money every month on a bunch of different things. I kind of need to get my spending reined in before I start like buying more books again. But Aardvark's one I'd love to do again. And then Arcane Society, really love the edition. Plus I'm really on board with owning a bunch of like fantasy romance special edition, especially because these are typically like duologies or series, and they'll send you multiple copies of them. I love their editions, and I've usually had like pretty good luck in getting books that I enjoy for them. They also reveal it in advance, so you have that option to skip it. So Arcane's one I would love to do again. And also Broken Binding. I only got it for one series this year and ended up canceling because, again, like I can't justify spending that much monthly on all of these different things. And I really would love to do it again because they have some of like the prettiest editions I've ever seen. And I love the idea of just having completed fantasy series too, because again, usually you know in advance what series it is. You can skip one per year. And I really, really love that option because a lot of companies don't do like the epic fantasy special editions. So that was a little tangent, but let's talk about the 2 books I finished. So The Half King, when we last spoke, I was partway through and really, really loving the concept of this because basically in it, birth order decides your abilities and all firstborns have a curse on them that by like your 21st birthday kind of consumes you. Really, really, really love that concept. But I find that unfortunately this one it kind of leaned into like the concept was better than anything else because I really did find the rest of the story to be fairly mediocre and that it didn't get exciting, it didn't get interesting, it just kind of stayed like bland. Like nothing else lived up to that feeling that I was having about the concept, and everything else I just ultimately found uninteresting. We're following a seer who she's prophesized to be the one who's able to break these curses, and she's sent to a kingdom where there's a half king, so he's a king, he's cursed at night to turn into shadow, and they form a relationship. And just the moment that started, I completely lost interest. Like it lost me so much, and then nothing about the book really gained me back after that. Like there was nothing that I really like got invested in, nothing I cared about, and I was just like, well, that's that. So yeah, by like I don't know, like it was before midway. I was really out of it. 3 stars because again, I was enjoying the world building quite a bit. I was enjoying the concept and everything. I just didn't care for the plot itself, I guess. And then we have a major miss, which is Wooing the Witch Queen. And this edition, so pretty. Like look at that artwork. That is so stunning. I will say this was Fairy Loot Romantasy, and this was Owl Crate Adult. In this one we have a Archduke something who's running away from his responsibilities and gets brought in, like accidentally goes to this witch queen's palace and through mistaken identity gets hired as her librarian, and then he ends up just like working closely with her, falling for her, and all at the same time like trying to conceal his identity and not let her know that he is technically this duke who's like her huge enemy. It was just so boring. This was badly written and boring. There was no part of this that I had any investment in. Didn't like the writing at all. It felt really, really young for what it was, and the characters were just genuinely stupid, uninteresting, really passive in a lot of the things they were doing. Like especially our male main character, I felt like he was very, very like not doing anything to stand up for himself, if that makes sense. He was just kind of letting things happen, and I didn't feel like he's actually like an active participant in a lot of what was going on. Didn't like the romance, and didn't like the fact that he was lying about his identity to her as they got together. Just so many things, so many things that did not work. And this one is a 2-star. This one I think I knew from like chapter 1. I was like, oh, if I didn't know this, I would have DNF'd it very, very quickly. So yeah, this was a huge disappointment. But there we go. We have 2 more done. I do have a few more on my physical TBR, but I'll be honest, I'm feeling like defeated, and I kind of want to go to like a Kindle Unlimited romance that I know I'm gonna really, really enjoy. And that's probably cheating, but if I'm going into one that like I think could be really, really well rated by me, like, you know, maybe that's not an issue. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't feel like facing those other 2 books at the moment. So maybe I should go for a werewolf shifter romance that I know I'm going to enjoy. Maybe good chance it won't be a 5-star, but I'm going to at least have a really, really good time. And I think the one I want to do, it's called The Longing of Lone Wolves. It's a post-apocalyptic werewolf shifter, so it is fairly, you know, werewolf shifter, but we can say it's still fantasy romance. Technically more paranormal romance, but you know, those terms have been so intertwined lately that I think it will count for this video. Maybe, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that next. So I'm really, really not far into our next book, which I did end up picking The Loaning of Long Wolves, and I just wanted to very quickly come in and, talk about it before I get further, because I feel, I don't know, like the last 2 books I did not update at all. So let's actually talk about this one. We are following a woman. She is in kind of in modern times and has a bit of a clairvoyance. So it's said that she can kind of see the future a little bit, and we don't know too many details about that yet, but she knows things. And she's living in modern times Vegas when it seems like a climate apocalypse has started to hit. So things are going drastically wrong in the world. It's said that temperatures are plunging and things are just wildly changing. And this has resulted in basically an apocalypse, we can say that. So she is in her apartment in Vegas and she goes outside while it is snowing there and collapses. Wakes up sometime in the future. We don't know how further, but it seems like it's maybe hundreds of years because the landscape is wildly different. She doesn't know where she is. She has metal bracelets. They're rusted. Her clothes are in tatters. She has no idea where she is. But something seemed to have happened to this world where, because of this apocalypse, magic has come back in, and also on top of that, fae. So she wakes up and is immediately attacked by a group of fae who happen to be wolf shifters, and I guess they're just like a wolf pack. And there's this one member of the wolf shifter fae. He's not part of the pack. He's kind of an outsider, and he agrees to help her get away from them and save her life in exchange for her being kind of like his eyes and ears to the world, because we're not eyes and ears, just mouth and hands, maybe. Because he has this curse on him where he's not able to touch people and people cannot see him also. But for some reason, our female main character can. So he agrees to save her, and in exchange, she will communicate with the outside world for him. And that is honestly pretty much all we know right now. So she has been saved. He has taken her back to his cottage, and we learn also that this curse he was placed on him, it can only be broken if he finds his blessed mate. And this is something that has not happened in centuries. So yeah, we know it's been quite a while since our female main character fell asleep. I don't know how she got frozen and transported in time. We really don't know yet. But I have to say, I'm really interested in this world. Post-apocalyptic fantasy is something that I don't think is explored often enough, and I really want more of it. The one series I'm thinking that comes to mind with similarities, and this is also my all-time favorite series, is Kate Daniels by Iona Andrews. And that is one where there is an apocalypse where magic is taking over, but we're following in that world. The apocalypse is actively happening, and there's this fight between science and magic. So it's very interesting to see something that happens so much longer afterwards. And yeah, I'm really interested to keep going on this one. So we have good feelings with it. And I just want to quickly update that before, I lock in tonight and get crazy far ahead. All right. So I've gotten a little bit further into the Longing of Lone Wolves, and I think I'm 60-ish% now. And unfortunately, I think it's kind of starting to lose me. I was really into this idea of somebody from modern world going back to the past, or going to the future into this weird magical world that somehow has sprung up. And I was really enjoying kind of that idea. But something about it's lost me, and I don't know. I think I think I know exactly what it is. The world building does not seem very complete for what I want it to be. A lot of things just seem a little bit too vague and really not making enough sense. A lot of things are not explained very well, and the world building just feels weird that way. It does not feel fleshed out enough. Also, I can guarantee I can say that I'm not loving our male main character, and I feel like he kind of has zero personality aside from he's just a gruff asshole who is starting to become obsessed with our female main character. Feels like he really doesn't have anything outside of that. And call me crazy, but I kind of want our male main character to have a personality or something else kind of going for him. Yeah, he just kind of seems like an asshole warrior, and there's really not a whole lot else going on. So yeah, I'm kind of starting to lose interest a little, unfortunately, because I did think this one was seemingly very good. It started off on a really good point for me, and yeah, just kind of losing me as we're going on, unfortunately. Okay, so I finished The Longing of Lone Wolves. The Longing of Lone Wolves? something like that. Unfortunately, I do have to say this one is only a 3-star. I really, really, really thought that we were going into this one and going to be finding like my next all-time favorite fantasy series slash shifter romance slash, I don't know, post-apocalyptic world. And it was okay. Like, really, at best, it was okay. I don't think the world building was really expanded on enough. I don't think the characters were built out enough, especially our male main character. I felt like he was incredibly one-dimensional, and you really, really didn't get much about him, aside from the fact that he's this brutish warrior and, you know, like a shifter and all the like stereotypical personality traits that go along with being a shifter. We didn't really get much about him, unfortunately. So I think it just like, it was interesting. It's definitely like, I'm interested enough to continue on in the series because I'm curious to see if any of them get better. But at the same time, it just didn't really do a lot, or slash it didn't do enough. So only 3-star. I'm very, very disappointed, to be honest. I really, really thought this would be the one. But I guess we need to go find another book. Not an issue. I think I'm just going to stay again. Like, I was going to go to my physical TBR. I don't think I'm going to again. I think we're going to mix it up yet again. Actually, like, not really at all, but I think we're going to go against the rules. Again, no rules, but I think we're just going to stay with Kindle Unlimited for a little bit because I've found a few books that I'm potentially interested in, and I'm feeling a little hopeful about that again. To another Kindle Unlimited book. The next book I decided to pick up is How Does It Feel? And I think I know exactly why I decided to pick this one up. I realized like one thing I really, really love in romantasy is I love the unhinged stories that people come out and are kind of like, what the fuck was this? This was trash. I like those. I like those a lot. I have a very, very big preference for these, and just based on everything I'm hearing from this one, I feel like it's going to be that type of book. And that's kind of exactly what I want. So where we are so far, we're following a biologist. Is she a biologist? I guess she is. She works for like animal conservation in this one small town. She went here very specifically because there's this one type of butterfly that she's obsessed with. And presumably they're supposed to go to this place. Like, they have, based on mating habits in the past, they tend to go to this place, not mating, migration pattern habits. And so she's just really, really devoted to animal conservation and really devoted to trying to get these butterflies into this area. She's like weirdly ostracized in this town, doesn't fit in with anyone, and is very much just like, she's like, I'm not setting roots here because I know realistically I'm probably going to leave, and if I can find somewhere else where I'm more likely to find these butterflies, I will go. So that's really her. She's just like very isolated from everyone, just very like doing her thing. Animals seem to love her, just a lot of that. And then she befriends the town crazy. That's kind of what they call him, is like Crazy Earl. And he has all these theories about like this one fungus that apparently, like, I don't know if it causes hallucinations, but it's like this really crazy fungus. And he's kind of taking her on a journey of like, let's go look, let's go find this. I don't really know where it's going. It's kind of weird. It is so far, like, I'm not super far into it, but I feel like it's going to get interesting. There's something to do with Fae. I do know that that is something. And I don't know if something to do with these butterflies. We also did have a flashback when she was a child, and she said this like tiny little fairy in her garden, and that like led her on this like lifelong, journey of finding other ones. So maybe that's kind of it. Maybe that's why she's so invested in nature. She really wants to, like, I don't know, see if she can find these fairies again. I'm intrigued at least. So that's always like a good starting point. Okay, so I finished How Does It Feel? And I knew I'd enjoy this one. It was unhinged enough. It had so many things that I was looking at it, I was like, this is going to be ridiculous. It is going to be so stupid. And yeah, of course I loved it because of those things. It was unhinged. It was ridiculous. We had a evil Fae prince. We had competitions. We had our human main character. Accidentally getting into fairy and needing to compete to get her way home. We had secrets unraveling. We had ridiculous love story. We had the most insane falling for each other thing ever. I don't know. I loved it. This was ridiculous. It was unhinged. That's everything I want. I love this. I ate this up. I was so addicted. I could not stop reading, could not stop like wanting to put it down. I loved it. I loved it so much. So yeah, we're giving this 5 stars. It truly is something that I am addicted to now. I cannot wait to dive into book 2. I think book 3 is out now too. I don't know if it's trilogy or if there's more. I can't wait. The ending was batshit crazy. And yes, that is what I want. That is what I want more than anything else. And it made me so happy. So I am so excited to continue on in this series. This was so fun. And what a perfect way. I mean, obviously we're ending the video off here, but what a perfect way to end this. Just made me so happy, reinvigorated my love of romantasy, feeling very slumpy, guys, and feeling very much like I was like, I don't know if I actually like anything. I think I was starting to think that maybe I just hate romantasy in general at the moment. But thankfully, we can say I love it, and this was great, and it was wonderful, and yeah, everything was great. So obviously we're ending the video off here, and thank you so much for watching. Would love if you would consider subscribing, please, if you haven't already. Love that. Comment, like, do whatever, just anything. Please boost my engagement, and hopefully I'll see you in a video very, very soon. Bye.